Declan Rice and Timber will become completed deals. They will. They're both going to be Arsenal players. Rice's intro video. There's talk that Duchesne might be doing it from Top Boy, which it's annoying because I love that show, but it being associated with Arsenal is kind of frustrating. But how excited are you about those two players joining your squad momentarily?
With Rice, I'm excited because he's proven in the Premier League. We've seen him over the years, and to be fair, I think it's just what we need. We need somebody solid, somebody young, hungry, somebody on the back of winning a trophy, and now he probably wants to win more and wants to take Arsenal to the next level. I think it's perfect timing for him to come to the club. Yeah, do I think he's worth 100 million? In my honest opinion, I don't think so. I think we could have. I think he's worth a little bit cheaper than that, but sometimes you got to pay over the odds and get a player if you really want him, especially if there's interest around him from other teams. And I'm glad that we are doing it. It's not like Arsenal go out there and splash the cash every single season on one or two players. So every now and again, for me, it's fine. The money's not coming out of my pocket. Just get the guy done. With Yuri and Timber, I have seen him in bits. I can't say that I watch him week in, week out. So it's hard because coming to the Premier League, I say this for everybody. Like Have Hope talked about Nkunku coming to Chelsea, and he believes that they might take him to the next level. It's totally different. When Havertz come to the Premier League, he was one of the best young players inside Europe, and he was just scoring goals for fun, World Cup and all of that. It hasn't quite worked out. Timo Werner, for example, there was so much hype around him. Come to the Premier League, didn't work out. So we've got to see how he settles in. It is promising the way he can play and the positions he can play, because the way Arteta likes to play with the inverted right back, he can come in and do that. So we were kind of seeing it with Zinchenko on the left side, but Ben White, he isn't really that inverted right back kind of player. And I think Timber would potentially come to Arsenal and play that role more than being a centre back. And we can have cover for centre back if a Saliba gets injured or so on. So it is going to be a good signing. I think United were after him last season as well, which shows you that big clubs are interested in this player. We're just going to have to wait and see how he settles in. For me, I think we need to have more as well. I need a striker and another midfielder, especially if the talk's true that Partey and Xhaka will be leaving the club. But Declan Rice, I think, especially after him winning that European Cup and him really getting involved with the England setup and developing himself as a player, I think this is the right time for him to move. And with Man City coming in for him, and allegedly he's kind of picked Arsenal over Man City, that should give Arsenal as a club more hope and believe going into bigger transfers and trying to get people tied down. But the one thing I must say is I just want to see these men holding up the shirt, because until people are holding up the shirt, I don't really get excited until then. Get me? Because we've seen many times before people, it looks like they're going to be holding the shirt up, and then last minute something can change. But Rice to Arsenal, fully with it.
You just said
Havertz,
allegedly. He definitely picked Arsenal over City. Like, what? There's no alleged.
I don't know when Ivan hid or whatnot.
It's not alleged. It's very clear. Like, City came in, and I'm not saying City did everything in their power, but they came in. If he said, "I'm only going to City," he goes to City. Like, the fact that they made a bid, it was official. It was there. He made it clear where he wanted to go. Like, that's very clear. I was like, I hate when people, and you said it, which is weird because you're not, but I hate when people do this where they're like, oh, did he really choose or did they pay more? No, the players choose where they want to get. One sport that is, for me, is wild, where players really choose outside of the NBA. It's like, and football players really choose.
I don't think that really works,
really
does it? Because if you look at Mudryk was screaming out that he wanted to join Arsenal, and that didn't quite happen, did it? So
I mean, that's because you just, so that one. I mean?
But what I'm saying is, sorry, bro, because you just make it for me. I think you make something out of nothing. What I'm saying is, I'm saying allegedly because I'm not a fly on the wall. I'm not in the room. I don't know exactly what was said. As obviously, I don't know whether you've took it out of context in that aspect, but obviously, it looks like he's chosen Arsenal over Manchester City. Personally, if I was a footballer myself, and Man City come in for me, maybe Man City might have said to them, look, we're not looking to match Arsenal's £100 million bid. You got to think they've got 115 charges that they're having to fight. Maybe they can't go over. No, realistically, that's not taking the piss because they might win that. But can they go out there and spend that another 100 million? We don't know really what's actually happened in it, unless you're a friend of Declan Rice or you're a fly on the wall. Realistically, we're all assuming, aren't we, in my honest opinion?
Fair. I think it was obvious. And just based on how the negotiations went down, it just felt, and the fact that we heard for months where he wanted to play.
No. I mean, I think the key thing here is Rice the difference maker between Arsenal challenging from the league and actually really winning the league? Is he that one player who'll be like, this is the player that we're missing to really help us win the league? Because I think Rice is great. Havertz, it is what it is. But I think Rice is a massive difference maker. But I think the key question is, with Rice coming in, is it okay? No, this is what can really help us close that gap and be the difference maker in winning a league that we should have won last season.
I think he is. I think Declan Rice is such a good football player. I think technically a brilliant footballer, great stamina, energy, availability. His leadership doesn't get discussed enough. He will become Arsenal's captain within 2 to 3 seasons, and that's no disrespect to Odegaard. He just will. You know, if you've got a very good free kick taker, but you sign up the best in the world, he becomes your free kick taker. If you've got a brilliant penalty taker, but you bring somebody else in who's better, they become your penalty taker. The same will happen with captain. Declan Rice is a leader. He will get people following him instantly. And when you surround him with better players and a progressive manager, this man has played for Moisey and Southgate, which is restrictive football. I think you're going to see a very different Declan Rice. And I believe, so look, some of the big expensive players have flattered to deceive. But I think Declan Rice, we're going to look back in 5 years' time and say £100 million was a bargain. I think he's that good a football player.
100 million is a bargain?
I think
100 million. To God that you're right.
Yeah, mate, I'm gutted. I was saying the other day to Jess, the real reason I was gutted about missing out on him is this is it. Unless he flops and is awful, none of the rest of us get to sign him now when he's pomp. He'll do a 5-year plus 6 deal. If he's brilliant, that takes him into his 30s, and then he's not past his best, but you're never going to get his pomp. And
that's when it's a bargain because it's 10 million over a year.
Yeah. And he's a player that I've wanted for 3 seasons, and it's just whenever an Arsenal or a City or a Liverpool or somebody like that buys a player you really want, you really rate at this age as well, it's impossibility that my club ever brings him in. And I always looked at him as someone that could help get Man United back to the very top, captain us one day. I think he's just phenomenal. I really, really do. And
do you know what, though, Terry, as well? Sorry to interrupt you. I think, you know what? I think because he's, like I said, he's proven in the league and we've seen him in the Premier League for a number of years, it gives you that more of a hope as an Arsenal fan to think this is definitely going to work out for us. There might be an option that he'll get played in a bit more of a progressive role. And to be fair, I've heard a lot of West Ham fans saying that they can see another level out of Declan Rice if he does get the opportunity to play a bit more advanced, where he could be that box-to-box player where at West Ham, a lot of the time he's been used as a 6 as well. So I am excited about that because I think if Xhaka was to move on and he slotted into that role and we kept a Thomas Partey, for example, I think it would work brilliantly because normally Odegaard's are more attacking midfielder, a bit more progressive, and then Xhaka's a bit more box-to-box where Partey's sitting. I think that would give us a good balance, but it just depends on if Partey's going to leave or not. And if he does leave, we need to bring in to have Hope's question if that's going to take us to winning the league. In my opinion, we needed to go in for a Caicedo just to kind of like seal the deal and say, you know what, now we're here. Now we've got all the missing pieces where we can fully challenge and believe that we're going to win it, not have that hope to say, oh, is it going to happen? A City going to do this, a City going to do that, to be have full conviction that we are going to win the league. It is not just Declan Rice is going to come in and fully just change everything for us. He will improve us, though, 100%.
100%. AMT here with a super chat says, for me, we need another right winger because last season Saka was overplayed. And that's the thing. You're never just going to sign. When you West City were last year, you bring in a Haaland. It's that cherry on top of the icing on top of the cake. I think there's still a few holes at Arsenal in terms of winning that league. O'Malley here says, for me, getting 21 million for Xhaka is great business. Arsenal moving differently. Well, look, does anyone else, Tom, and Patty, do you look at Arsenal's moving different in the transfer market, the way they're renewing contracts? Are they behaving like a giant club in your opinion now?
They're starting to. They're starting to, offer the big money to players. Saka's got his big pay packet. Saliba, he's probably due his one. If he's not agreed it already. You've got Martinelli, you'll get his in time. Havertz is being paid a good amount. Rice, all that stuff. For me, I look at Arsenal in terms of they're now moving differently. No, they are just moving like a top club. All these clubs that want to compete with City have to move like this. You have to be exceptional in the market. You can't afford mistakes. And I really like the signing of Declan Rice. I think that is a ceiling raiser. I think there's a lot of people that underrate what he can do because he's Declan Rice and he's English and he played for West Ham and he was linked for Chelsea for ages. So people just have this misconception in their head that he's one of the best midfielders in the league and it's a really good pickup from Arsenal. But like, Havertz, I don't know. Like the 60, how much did you pay? 60 million for him?
So it looks like 65, 70, man.
Yeah, like that. Just he didn't work up front. I don't see how he's going to work in midfield, where it's even more physical, even more demanding. Like maybe Arteta's got a plan for him, and that's fine if he does. But I just don't see that working. But in terms of the pay package you're offering, you're tying down your best players to long term deals. Maybe not in the next 1 to 2 years. You'll get success because I still think City they're not going to move anytime soon. But because you've got Saka, Saliba, Rice, all these players tied down for 5 to 6 years, they're all going to be in their prime together, which is a very frightening prospect for everyone if they continue to grow as they have been so far.
Yeah, I mean, I echo everything Tom's saying. He's hit the nail on the head. I think the Declan Rice move is fantastic. He's a top player, like one of the best midfielders in Europe. He's that good. And I've been saying the same thing like Terry and even like Tom saying. The thing is, a lot of people don't really, I don't know if they don't rate Declan Rice or they're being disingenuous because he plays for West Ham. But I've watched him many times live and he's been the best player on the pitch. He's that good. And then going to a team like Arsenal with a much better manager, much better crop of talent around him, and obviously being able to compete more in the bigger games, you're gonna only see a better player. So that's a brilliant signing. Of course, 105 million is a lot, but sometimes forget the transfer fee. If you really need that player, he's your key target and he's going to make the team better. You just go out and do it. So in that respect, I do like what Arsenal have done. Exactly what Tom said, the Havertz one, and like Clemsy's been saying, I really don't get that one. I don't understand it at all. I've seen Havertz play for 3 years in the Premier League and he's been crap. Guy can't hit a barn door. His finishing is atrocious. He's been drifting in and out of games, just not doing it. Other than the Champions League goal, I struggle to really remember him providing or coming alive in the big moments. But we'll see what Arteta does with him. Timber, good player. Obviously, we've got to see how he does in the Prem. But yeah, Arsenal are doing good business. They're moving correctly. They're doing what they should be doing. Obviously, we'll still see. I'm sure they're going to have 1 or 2 surprises. The window's literally just opened. But as it stands, they're doing well. You guys stop with this Kai, he'll prove you wrong. I don't know. What's that based off of? That's just based off of hope. Because
that's just based off Arsenal fans saying we've signed 11 Leverkusen habits and
it's weird.
330 bags a week, what I'm being reported. That is mad, and then you're haggling over
330.
That's what I'm hearing.
German reports at 330. Do you know what I would say? The one, look, I'm not sold on Havertz or Mount. I really am. But when it comes to Arteta, every major signing, every signing over about £20 million he's made has been a success. He hasn't had a flop yet.
I like how you bracketed it over 20 million.
Yeah,
because look at Lokonga, do you know what I mean? There's a lot of summer players that he's brought in.
Lokonga was like £13 million, and
but he was all over Lokonga when he first wanted him. You know what I mean? Like he wanted him, Nuno Tavares as well. That quite hasn't worked out.
They're kids. But that's what I'm saying, Brendan. They're kids. They're like young prospects that you're taking a punt on. Everyone that he's put serious money behind has done well. That's what I'm talking about. Like,
that's the only hope I've got, to be fair. That majority of his signings have worked. I just can't see this, really. I really can't. People are saying he's going to come in to play on the right. He's not fast enough. His defensive abilities ain't really there. We already know he can't finish. So I don't understand where he's going to come into this team and play. I don't think midfield's going to work out for him. And people say, oh, he's been playing out of position at Chelsea. People seem to forget the guy's had ample opportunity in loads of different positions in that Chelsea team, and he's played loads of different positions. You know what I mean? In Bayer Leverkusen, he was out on the right wing. In Chelsea, he had options in 10. He's played in the number 10. He's played up front. He's played out wide. He's played in midfield. It just hasn't worked out for him. Sometimes the Premier League isn't for everybody. I'm just praying and hoping to God that this guy can come in and really just be a different player, something that we haven't seen before, because I'm just so not sold on him. And I get it. Arsenal fans want to back him and get behind him, and rightly so, because he's put the Arsenal shirt on now. But sometimes you can't just hide away from the truth. And and just kind of unsee everything that you've seen. And now he's at the club. You got to think, oh, he's the best thing since sliced bread. Sometimes you just got to be real and say it as it is.
Yeah, no, listen, I hear you. I'm again, I hope it don't work out, but I just look at it, and my fear and worry is that most of you. Fabio Vieira hasn't done well yet, but he's 1 year in, and most people give players at least 2 years to show something. Premsy, I know you've got to shoot, bro. Appreciate you coming on, brother, and we'll chat again soon, mate.
Yeah, respect. Peace,
Cheers,
boys.
mate. Thank you, bro.